I was watching TV the other night, and do you know full episodes of The Tonight Show from like the 70s, 60s, and 70s are on Antenna TV now? And I was watching one, and it's the whole...
Is that a channel?
Yeah, Antenna TV. It's like old classic shows and shit. But they play the whole fucking episode. Would you get the poor guy some water?
I'm over here. I'm dying. He's in there
I'm parched. And it was from 1977. Chevy Chase was one of the guests. Oh. And then he comes out. He was terrible. Didn't give Johnny anything. Just awful. And then Richard Pryor comes out. He's the next fucking guest.
And how was Pryor?
He was great. But he made Johnny uncomfortable. It was all race. Pryor. It was all race stuff and how the black man can't get this and stuff. But it was very funny. He was doing, what he did. Very good. And then this guy that used to be like on F Troop, a character actor, James Hampton, I think his name is. James Hampton. That's who it is. And you'd know his face if you saw him. The guy's been in every fucking thing. He was the doctor, the psychiatrist in Sling Blade that had Carl come over his house for a night.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking J.T. Walsh for a second. Yeah, I know who you mean. Yes.
Fucking thing. Yes. And he was funnier than Chevy Chase and Pryor.
Oh, really?
Just hilarious.
They enjoy him, too?
Yeah, they did. They were kind of goofing on him a little bit, and he was kind of this goofy. His whole M.O. on the show was that nobody knows who he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's got this name, but he's a character actor.
Sure.
It's recognized. But he did it very well and very fun. And then Johnny came out and did one of his Aunt Blabby sketches. He dresses like an old lady.
Yeah.
Comes out, and Ed interviews her, and it was bombing horrendously. And it was great. Like, they played off the fact that these jokes were going nowhere so much better than if the jokes worked.
Were Pryor and Chevy Chase out there for Aunt Blabby or no?
No, it was the first thing they did before they brought the guest out. Aunt Blabby. And Johnny would and then I'm thinking like he's walking off stage and the Aunt Blabby music's playing and Ed's clapping and he goes back, pulls the curtain, gives him another look like, oh, get away from me, and walks backstage. And I'm like, what happened right after that? Does he just stand there in old lady costume with the producer and backstage people and go like, yeah, that was good. That was good, man.
That didn't do very well.
No, probably something like that. But it's so cool to watch like that. The shit that they talked about that you could just never talk about now because too much sensitivity and topical news, like bringing up Jimmy Carter and Nixon and Ford and shit like that. So it was interesting. I like watching it in its entirety. Clip shows are great, but to watch a whole show really kind of put it in context.
I went and watched The Big Short. I went to one of the showings of that. And one of the guys I talked to there used to write for Carson. He was one of Johnny's head writers for years. And I forget his name, but we talked for a while. And it was interesting hearing about the process. Back in those days, we'd sit there and Johnny would just smoke his fucking face off. And, you write cards out and try them. And that to me is the guy who I would love to really interview, a guy who wrote for Carson. And I was watching one of Rodney's old sets.
Oh, wow.
And it's just, so you know how fat Yeah, she was so fat she was on the corner. A cop told her to break it up. God damn, is that funny. Or he did a joke. He goes, yeah, I had a lawyer. He was a good lawyer. He had a rape charge, knocked down at tailgating. Wow, what a good joke. And at that one, they kind of stopped and they laughed. And I think Rodney's like, so where do you want to go next? To Johnny. It was so good. But to hear that content, you'd never hear that.
That's just it. I mean, what the fuck are we supposed to do? It doesn't seem to be changing. It just gets worse and worse. And these are things that people love to joke about.
Yeah, or just talk regular interviews where they were real, like, because Colbert seems to be a little too serious from what I hear.
Yeah.
I haven't watched it, so I have to go on speculation. But Johnny had just that right balance of fucking doing a real interview and a smart interview, but also he could be hilarious and as funny as any guest he had. And he could be a cock if you were off base.
Yeah, there were. I think it was Chevy Chase and Richard Pryor had a special the next night that was on NBC.
Okay.
They both had specials on the same night, which is odd. I think.
Was this around the sketch time, though, when they did that nigger sketch? Is that
might have been?
Okay, that's probably why. They had that big moment on SNL,
A couple of years after it, maybe, or a year after it. But, they had these specials, and Johnny was just... Because they were ragging Johnny about how he kind of didn't know what they were doing.
Right.
Like what their sketches were or anything like that. And Johnny was just giving him hell, like, hey, I'll be here tomorrow and the next night. And the next night, like, he was bashing them, really, saying, you know, yeah, you got your special, but I'll be here tomorrow when you're having your special, and I'll be here the next night, too. The next night after that. And, like, he was not afraid to do that.
No.
And if the show was tanking, he acknowledged that it sucked. Ugh, he looked around like a joke wouldn't go anywhere. So he'd just be like, "Oh, what time is it?" He just wants to get through the fucking show. Hilarious shit like that you don't see anymore.
No, he was very understated. He knew how to let quiet moments play. He knew when not to interrupt and not when to babble. I mean, just amazing, the timing and the understanding of when somebody was going somewhere.
How not jumping on him.
Oh, there's nothing. He wasn't some clumsy idiot just fucking, you know.
One of the greatest examples is the guy that threw the tomahawk.
Ed Ames.
Ed Ames threw a tomahawk at a silhouette, and it hit right on the dick. And Ed Ames went to walk over and grab it out. And Johnny grabs his arm and just stands there.
Yeah.
And the audience is laughing. And he knew exactly when to throw his line in.
Yeah.
He knew what he was going to say. The audience is at its peak. You don't say anything there. It starts going down, and then he put it out. I didn't even know you were Jewish.
Yeah.
And the place, again, just blows up.
Yeah, it's like a mountain range.
He knew exactly. Oh, here it is. Yeah, watch how Ed Ames goes to pull the tomahawk out, and Johnny knows. This wasn't planned. Believe me, if this guy could hit a dick with a tomahawk.
And put only one revolution on the once around on the way. But that's indefinite.
All right.
Right.
He's going over to get. Look at Johnny. Yeah. No. I got something. His timing is great. Knows exactly.
Letting the laugh play. So smart. Yeah. Perfect timing.
Just killed it.
Perfect.
Two giant laughs out of.
And the beautiful thing is, you could see he was going. You could see him starting, but realizing no, the laugh is
right. It's too much.
So good.
And then he gets a little louder to try to bring the laugh down a little bit so he could get his line out. He was a brilliant guy.
Oh, was he good?